Hey everyone, it's the Hey Poopy podcast. What that booty do from poop to pleasure to health. Hosted by me, Dave.
And me, Ellen. We are two curious people removing that stigma from your stinker. But why? Why do you ask we do this? Because we love to laugh and learn about butts and helping them to be the best they can be.
Oh yeah.
And on today's episode, we had sexpert, sex educator, professional dom, and professional wrestler Lola Jean.
Yes, she was amazing. Lola, she brought the heat. We talked about pegging, prostate, milking, one of Ellen's favorite things she wants to learn more about. We hit all the marks with Lola. She just, I mean, there was so much information. I was kind of like, I kind of got lost in it. Like all the stuff that she does with pleasure and butts. More importantly, butts.
Very informative, very supportive, and sweet and educational. And if you ever wanted to know, how can I get into pegging as a top or a bottom? She answers all of these fabulous questions. She even answers questions about spanking and even more things about scat play.
If you want to hear it, we got a little clip for you.
I was on virtual therapy with my therapist, and I got the urge, really got to poop. And I thought, I can make it through therapy. And then it got to a point where I was like, no, I can't. It's like, excuse me, hold on. Put it on mute, left the room, went to go to the bathroom. I have 3 roommates and somebody was in there that morning. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Go back, talking through therapy. I'm like, no, I cannot make it.
Train's coming.
It's the only thing I'm thinking about now. Go to the bathroom. Someone is still in there. So I'm like, what can I do? There are not public bathrooms in my building. There's nowhere I can really go because it's like the middle of the pandemic and everything shut down. So I find like a Trader Joe's bag. And while my therapist is muted, but on the screen on my bed over somewhere else in the room, and I shit in this bag in front of my 2 foster kittens. And it's like, I'm so sorry. And I finish that, and then I go back and I finish therapy.
So there's tons of stuff that you're missing if you do not listen to this show. I mean, how could you not love that clip? I mean, she was like the perfect guest.
She really was. And do you want to know more about this fabulous Poopy podcast? Well, why don't you go to heypoopypodcast.com? Everything you want to know is right there.
Yes, right there for you. And on to the shit show.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. It's another amazing dump day.
It is, and this is the Hey Poopy podcast with
Dave
and Ellen.
And this is episode 143, but it'll always be number 2 to us.
And we have a fabulous guest today, the sexpert Lola Jean.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here.
Awesome. This is going to be so
Before we
great.
go into who you are and what you do, we'd like to know about your poo. How have you been pooping recently?
Actually, recently it's been very frequent. I ate some nachos on Sunday, and I feel like I am still feeling the repercussions.
Yeah, I feel like nachos kind of do that to you with that weird cheese.
Yeah. It's just like, if you can't name what's on it, it's probably, and at the time it felt like such a good decision.
Yeah, the tongue and the colon do not go well together sometimes.
Yeah. Now, sorry, real quick, were these like homemade nachos, or these like at a restaurant, or just like mall nachos?
Oh no, I went to a sports bar, and it's my local sports bar. I watch football there all the time, and the wings were got way more expensive because of wing inflation, I guess. I'm like, well, I guess I'll get nachos.
And now you're still feeling the nacho effect.
Yeah, it's just been very frequent. I'm kind of impressed, honestly.
Cool. Are they loose?
Losing a lot of weight.
Are they on the looser side? Are they kind of, is it all over the map, the Bristol stool chart?
A little on the looser side.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just a lot of little loose little skinny ones.
Oh. Yellow, I imagine.
No, it's still brown. It's still doing good, but it's yeah, it's you ever have those poops where you're just wow, I lost so much weight.
Yeah. You feel like I lost 5
I have
pounds.
those every day.
Right? Yeah.
I love those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Who needs dieting when you just shit it all
Yeah,
out?
take a big dump.
Exactly. I mean, luckily I work from home a lot nowadays, so like not a big deal from like to and from the bathroom all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. That's the best. You just like run across the hallway. So, Ellen, how have your poops been?
I had a similar experience to Lola, not with nachos, but and a similar experience to my check-in last week. But like, I sat down this morning right after my coffee and made kind of a Bristol 4. And then I stood up and I was like, nope, round 2 before I even flush. Like, so, and then that came out kind of more like a Bristol 6. It was a little more loose in the caboose. And then it's been one of those days where I've been on the phone a lot and I had to poo when I was on the phone. So I had to like put it on mute while I'm talking to the person and just like kind of pressing it on and off. And I went again and it was a little loose. And I'm going to blame it on the buffalo wings I ate last night. So, but then I have part of an epic check-in, and last week I was doing a errand for my father by cleaning out his warehouse that we're trying to sell, and there were a bunch of leftover tires, and tires are terribly expensive to dispose of at the dump, so I found a place that would dispose of them for a lot cheaper. I still had to pay this company, and the guy was so fucking condescending, like, you poor little girl, and like even condescending to me on the phone and then condescending me in person. And I couldn't take a dump at my dad's warehouse because we shut the water off. So after this asshole was such a jerk to me and I paid him, I was like, can I use your bathroom? And I blew up his windowless bathroom.
Nice.
And I took my time in there to make sure that he knew that this little girl makes big stinky dumps.
Nice. Did you flush?
I did flush.
Oh.
And then I was telling a friend that I did that and they were like, did you do an upper decker? And I was like, oh, I should have, because I never will see this motherfucker again. And I was like, I wasn't even thinking that evil. But
Oh, yeah.
And because I got to my dad's warehouse 2 hours before that, I had to shit so badly and I somehow held it in. I have never held in a shit for 2 hours.
Wow.
I don't know what my sphincter control was doing, but it was doing me good.
Well, sounds like you had an epic few days or weeks of shitting there. I was on Governor's Island yesterday and we were doing some fancy, I can't say glamping because I just hate that term, but fancy camping. But it was nice. We'd gone there before and they've since remodeled their area, like the whole like campsite. But the bathroom situation, because the first time I went there was like those like fancy like porta potties. Those they look like
a trailer
at a movie set. But now that it's all tented in, so it's like each a little tent area with a shower in it, your own personal like sink, a toilet. I mean, it looks like a bathroom, just happens to be outside, and you can zip up the tent and you can lock it up so no one can accidentally walk in there. And the facilities were amazing. I had the best. I mean, of course, I was like, I'm just gonna wait till I go home because we were only for one day, so I'm like, I'll just take a shit when I get back home. And I couldn't. And then I just finally went and it was like, it was glamorous actually. It was so nice. Like just being outdoors, like you couldn't really, and they have a little flap you can like unopen if you like unzip if you want to see outside. But I did not do that. It was a little chilly.
Ooh, that's even more glamorous.
Yeah.
Now I'm jealous.
But now all the tents,
with a view,
all the bathrooms are like right next to each other. So I imagine if you open up another unzipped one window, it'd be opening into another person's window. But it was fantastic. Yeah, it was great. And I was really nervous that the toilet situation was going to be like, plus it was like off season and no one was there. So that made it better. So we had the whole place to ourselves pretty much. But the bathroom situation was awesome. Just really, really nice. I took one last night, this morning, and then one when I got home. So yeah, it was good.
I can't believe you tried to hold it.
I just would rather just be at home. I just couldn't, but it was like late. I'm like, I just got to just go.
There's nobody who prefers to shoot shit anywhere else, but when you gotta go, it's like you might as well get it.
I mean, it was agreed, but it wasn't that bad at first. I'm like, this is easy. I got this. And then like towards the end, you're just like, I'll just go. But it was nice. I'm glad I did. Normally, I would have I would have held it in like at least until today. So I was really happy about that.
Better in the toilet at some glamping site than in your pants.
Yes, agreed. So, well, now that we've all checked in, it seems like we're doing some great pooping out there. So
Keeping it healthy.
yeah, keeping it healthy. Lola Jean, please tell our audience a little bit about yourself before we get into our questiones.
Well, I do so many things, and the list will probably never stop growing or shifting. But right now, I can call myself a sex educator, an occasional pro dom, a fetish wrestler, and I am the world record holder in volume squirting.
Okay. What is a fetish wrestler? I just had, that's going to be, we're going to get to that, but that's awesome. I've never heard that before.
You haven't?
Fetish wrestler? Fetish wrestler?
Wow.
No. I mean, I guess,
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know. I've never, fetish wrestler. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, so wrestling is like my niche within pro domination. That's the main avenue of how I do my pro dom work. And it's different from like professional wrestling, WWE. It kind of pulls a little bit more from Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but like it's like fetish involved. So for me, I always tell my clients, I'm like, it can feel like whatever the hell you want it to, but for me, it has to feel like a sport.
Gotcha.
For me, I am in my gym clothes. I'm on the mat. It's still got to feel like a sport for me.
I mean, my brain went to like you dressed up as like a, I don't know, some sex toy, jumping up the
Like
top
Glow?
turnbuckle. Like, no, like, yeah, straight up WWE.
Like Kaiju Big Battle.
Yeah, like
everyone's
yeah.
dressed up like a sex toy.
Like that, or WWF style, like, you know, you have a whole walk-in music, you got the microphone, what you're going to do
If
the
someone
person.
paid me to dress up as like a human magic wand and like body slam them, I would. Yes.
Oh, that is hilarious. I loved all that.
Yeah, I have a couple friends of mine who do sexy wrestling for either film or domination work. So I've heard of that before. And I know Dave likes like kind of sexy gym outfits on ladies. So
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
like sexy wrestling is right up your
I've
alley.
literally never heard of this at all. So I have to Google this. That's crazy.
Yeah, my trainer LT and we're releasing a series in a couple of weeks on play fighting. So like on bringing this, but like, you know, not for a client, but like for your partner and kind of like
Gotcha.
tussling in the bedroom and getting really physical. But yeah, it's really fun. Like, I mean, I'll do it in my professional life. I'll do it in my personal life, but professionally it kind of combines all the things that I love and I'm good at. So
Gotcha.
I get to do a lot of trash talk. I love improvising trash talk.
This is so funny. Like my mind is blown.
I think about George Takei, and he always says that he starts off his romantic interludes with his husband by wrestling.
Oh yeah.
So, and then they end blowing each other, which I think is just so romantic.
With Brad. Bradder. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, fetish wrestling. I will Google that after this. This is a new thing for me. I've never heard of that. All right.
You just switched on something new for Dave.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, it's so great.
So Lola, being the sex educator that you are, we have our regular questions, but I think Dave and I really tailored some questions just for you, only because one, we've had some men on the show who've talked about anal and stuff, but we have never had a woman on that I think would be as open as you are and to help educate our audience too. So could we go into some of those questions?
Yeah, I would say I'm more often a giver of anal than a receiver. That's also just kind of based on my bits and my body makeup, but I actually have the best luck when I just apply how I give anal to how I receive it. And I've enjoyed that a lot too.
And you give in which capacities? Pegging, fingers, whatever?
Yeah. All of my pegging starts with fingers. So sometimes I do just fingers and that can be really fun. But yeah, usually either fingers or fingers and pegging.
Do you have a preference? Like what do you prefer, like a strap on or some other kind of phallus, or is it just kind of like whatever kind of goes?
I have like 2 different harnesses that I prefer to use that are both for like comfort and ease of use. The first harness I got was like leather and I thought it was so hot, but it was so impractical and it just took a while to like get on and it kind of pinched its skin a little bit. Oof. So I either have like a jock strap style one or one that's like neoprene, like a climbing harness. And for the dildos, I have one that was like the first one I got that I was like, this feels like my dick, but I'm not as attached to them. So I'll usually switch it out based on like the person. And then I have some that are like, oh, this is my favorite for beginners, or I really like this. Like I like certain ones for different reasons,
Right.
but I don't have as like an attachment to it. I have a huge case of penis envy. So this is like a really nice way that I get to engage in that.
Cool. Yeah, I guess different styles, you know, mix it up.
Well, can you give our listeners some tips for pegging for like newbies? Like, is it something that, say, there are women out there that want to peg their boyfriends? What is the best way to even initiate that conversation?
Well, I think it's like bringing it up instead of a like, hey, will you do this? Yes or no? Because that's really hard for someone to answer. And then also they haven't had that same time you've had to like sexualize it and get turned on about it. So I think bring it up as something that like, here's what I've been thinking about. Here's why I want to do it. And here's why I enjoy it. And then leave it open for them to explore and sexualize it themselves. Ultimately, it's someone else's body. So they're going to really be the ones that have to make that decision. As someone, like, honestly, though, I feel like I just put out there that I like pegging. I tell people without a pressure to engage with that, and I let them come to me. Because if I'm someone who feels comfortable doing it and like I know what I'm doing and I'm excited about it, what has happened to me like 9 times out of 10, like I'll start seeing someone, they're like, I know you love pegging, but you can't peg my butt. It's exit only, well, all those things. And then like a couple weeks later, they're like, you know, I've been thinking about it. If it's going to be anyone, it's going to be you. I really want you to peg my butt. I was
Nice.
like, cool. I didn't ask for that, but it's totally something I can facilitate. So I'll like mention I like it and then walk away and allow them, because you really want the person who is like receiving something to be the one who's like, yeah, I want to do this, instead of I'll do this for you.
Right.
That's still consensual and it can still be fun. But for just me and how I like to play personally, I don't want to put things up people's butt unless they want it.
For sure.
Yes.
Do you have any like
Because then their sphincter is going to be tight and then we're not going to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any actually practical, like literal, like experiments or not experiments, tutorials? Because like I could imagine if I told my wife I wanted her to peg me, she would destroy me. Like she'd be so psyched just to strap something on and like just wreck me. Like there'd be issues.
Well, it's still a process of that's why I'm like, I always use fingers before I use
Right.
a dildo. And like one is for me to get to know their body, but then for also get to know their own body. And then if I've been doing stuff with my hands beforehand, then I get the prostate engorged. So it's easier when I go in with my dildo.
Right.
And also I peg so many people and it's their first time. So I over communicate everything. I'm like, nothing is going to go inside of you without me giving you tons of pre-warning. Cause I do a lot of work around the hole. I do a lot of anal massage where I like take my fist with a glove on and like really just get in there with my knuckles kind of around the sphincter. And then I'll do work with my finger where I allow them to take me in, or we do breath work. So when they breathe out is when I push in, and then we do that breathing together until they relax on my finger.
Right.
Those are all really good tips.
Yeah.
I mean, like you think pegging is like thing and hole, but like there's so much more you have to do before insertion. Cause like ideally this hole is welcoming you in.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm glad you're saying that because like men, someone's out there being like, okay, cool, we're doing this, and just like 0 to 60, you're like, whoa, hey, let's just ease in a little bit, okay. So with something smaller.
Is pegging only a term for a woman wearing a strap-on onto a man, or is that a term for can a woman do it to another woman? Like.
So the way I feel about a lot of language is I think that we can adapt it and modernize it. I know a lot of people have issue with the word pegging and they feel that it is rooted in homophobia or transphobia. And I don't think the word itself is, but I think that's initially when it was created, the language was very limited. So I totally respect if people want to do this act and call it strap-on sex or want to call it sex because that's what it is for them. But the way I've chosen to modernize the definition is that pegging is when someone penetrate someone anally while using a strap-on. So the person wearing the strap-on could have a penis, they could have a vulva. The person receiving it could have a penis or a vulva. The main thing is like if someone has a prostate, they're more likely to find pleasure out of this. And it's going to be a bit more straightforward. If they have a vulva, then you're just trying to access different parts of the vaginal canal via the anal canal. So that's really dependent on the person because the makeup is so different and also what parts. But for both scenarios, for both cases, like sometimes it's an anal day and sometimes it's not.
Totally.
That's like
You realize
Especially
sometimes when you
depending
get in
if,
there.
depending on if you ate nachos the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the factors.
I feel like that needs to be, that's like a hat or a t-shirt right there, or a sweatshirt. They're like anal day. Awesome.
And what about bottoms to pegging? Like, what if there's somebody out there and they want to bring it up to a top? Like, what do you suggest is their best way? I know you were saying like maybe they need to have it in their brain sexualized first, but like, what if somebody's like, I don't know if my partner will do this to me?
I think it's figuring out what their hesitation is. And also, because this is such a vulnerable position, like, understand that if anyone has a problem with this act or you doing this act, that is entirely a projection and has nothing to do with you and your interest. Someone doesn't want to engage in something with you. That doesn't mean that you don't like this thing or it's not good. It just changes who you can engage with it on. But I would say understand what their hesitations are. Is it pain or poop, like the two biggest hesitations? Because those are things that can be mitigated and discussed. Is it more that, like, are they saying that, like, oh, this changes your sexuality, or this means that you're not this certain identity? Because that sounds like work that they need to do. So I think just like really being inquisitive and asking questions and holding that space, but also that like no is a fine answer. And sometimes like knows, when you get certain types of education and comfort and you're more informed and educated, those can eventually turn to yeses, but we can't really pressure them with a time crunch of like, do this now. So just know that like, if you're if you really want someone to engage in this with you and they adamantly don't, that doesn't change anything about your desire, but then also determine, is this desire integral to your relationship? Because if it is, then maybe this isn't the relationship for you, and you need to really prioritize that in future relationships.
Wow. Well said.
Yes.
Agreed. 100% on
for
that
everybody
too.
to hear.
For sure.
Also, the fact that like being a straight man, it's okay if you have shit in your ass. That's not just poop. Pleasurable stuff in your ass.
Yeah, I like to engage in a lot of external prostate play with partners and stuff, because they'll just be like, oh my God, that's incredible. I'm like, right? Imagine if something was in there.
Wait. What is this external prostate play?
So kind of like between like the taint, the sphincter area, around between the sphincter and the scrotum, or there's kind of this like root of the dick. So in that area, I mean, depending on the person, some people like light touch, some people like a decent amount of pressure. Most people, I'll apply like a decent amount of pressure there, either with like my fingertips or my knuckles, depending on where my body is. And I'll do that, I mean, while I'm making out with them, while I'm going down on them. And that's something where I think they don't associate that necessarily with like their butt, because it's like an extension of their cock a little bit. And especially when they're just like, they really like it, or they just start moaning louder. I'm just like, congratulations, that's your prostate being stimulated.
Chode blast.
Found that G-spot.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, we're going to go into the question that I'm the most excited about, prostate milking. When you do get in there. And I told Dave that we need to go to, I heard there's a prostate milking class somewhere in New York City, and that I'd like Dave and I to be
the funniest
part
thing,
of.
by the way. I'm sorry, that just makes me laugh every time. Prostate milking class at the Learning Annex. Yeah, and I always picture exactly like that, like some kind of old school like milking machine, just like a guy hooked up to it, like
sit in a stool.
Yeah, totally. Just like someone. Okay, what you got to do here is you got to.
That is the future we are looking to live in. Men are only used for the milk of their nuts.
Yes.
Okay, I saw this I saw on Instagram. I kept serving this ad for, it's called like JOI, which is like stands for just one ingredient, but they're nut milks that you can make, and they just give you the nut part. And I'm like, JOI, jerk off instructions. How did no one put this together?
Nice. That was definitely a meeting. They're like, someone's going to say jerk off instructions. Nah.
You get one at the end of every prostate milking class.
Yeah. A little pamphlet, a little thank you, and a rag.
So tell us, Lola, what is milking the prostate? Tell us more.
So milking the prostate is via prostate stimulation, ejaculating without any like penile stimulation, and that just being the prostatic fluid. So I mean, I feel personally that like I like to engage with the prostate a lot, and whether I get prostate milking, like whether I get prostatic fluid or I get ejaculate with prostatic fluid in it, I'm like, great day for me. So I'm not really going for that specifically. I think like, so I don't have like specifically for prostate milking. However, for prostate stimulation, of ways you can get around to this is firstly understanding that when you play with the prostate, penis does whatever the hell it wants to do. And that might be being flaccid, that might be hard, that might be going back and forth between the two, playing ping pong. But for the types of movements the prostate likes, it's pretty simple. So you can do tapping movements, or you can do movements where you're holding down pressure, movements where you have like a little bit of like a windshield wiper or metal detector, but you don't need that much movement really, unless like the person wants that feeling of being fucked. But vibration is externally or internally, that can be a really awesome and intense thing for the prostate as well. So especially if you're starting with your hands and then you really want to like up the vibration and intensity, there are a lot of really awesome toys out there that you can use or you can add vibration to.
So a little dab will do you, basically, is what you're saying. You don't need to go too crazy unless the person wants to go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need as much movement as you think you do.
Yeah.
Just a lot of it can be like consistency or doing something else with a certain type of rhythm. So kind of similar to how you would like play with a clitoris a bit, but it varies on the person, and also varies of some people. They want that straight prostate stimulation. It's about the physicality, and other people, it's more of a mental thing where they're like, I want to feel fucked and full. And they're going for a different sensation ultimately. So they want to feel the like knuckles kind of going in and out, or not going in and out, but like kind of going up against the butt. So it's also like, I think we think because of like penetration, we're going to be going in and out all the time. The people who like to feel fucked will like that. For the people that just want the physical sensation of it, it's going to be more up and down, side to side, a little bit of movement, a bit of rocking. So when you get to actually dildo penetration, like you can do your in and out movements, but it also doesn't need to be as like, acrobatic and difficult as that, or exhausting.
Vigorous.
Yeah. Wait, the way you're just describing it sounded like a cheat code on the old Nintendo 64 thing, like up, down, left. Which I guess it kind of is. You're like, boom,
probably.
and success.
I have two prostate questions. One is, I was speaking to a friend of mine who's working on some ED, erectile dysfunction ad campaign, and she wanted to interview a dom about ED. And I said that this was just purely speculation, but that these older clients that see doms and want to get pegged, I was like, I wonder if that has to do with their erectile dysfunction. Like maybe if they can't get their penis up, at least they can still have pleasure from their prostate. And if you're just saying that prostate manipulation, you don't even have to get a hard on.
I mean, I mainly peg in my personal life. I just like earlier on in my career, I decided that this is more of a for lovers thing and less of a clients thing. So I transitioned it more that way. So I'm pegging people that are very young as well too. And they are very much enjoying it. I know that like I have heard stories of people that have had their prostate removed for medical reasons, and like they're still finding enjoyment out of, being penetrated anally as well too. So again, it depends on like mental versus physical components. But I think I think prostate stimulation can be really enjoyable for whether people have like erectile difficulties or whether they're just putting a lot of pressure on their penis. It's a time where like the penis can do it at once, but there's no pressure on it to be a certain way. I had this really amazing experience with a lover previously where I think he was just like having a hard time staying erect. And he's like, I'm really stressed out. And we just ended up doing a lot of butt stuff with him. And then like, he got this giant hard on and had this amazing orgasm. So it's like when you take the pressure off for a moment, that can happen, or it's just a totally different kind of sensation. I compare prostate and penile orgasms to like squirting and orgasming. Like they're both great, but they're very different.
Wow. That's awesome.
And my second question is for trans women, because they were born with a prostate. I'm assuming if they're post-op, their prostate is still in there. Do they remove it? Like how? Because as a cis woman, born woman, I wasn't born with a prostate. So I'm curious to like if trans women, I don't know if you know like about their prostates.
Well, firstly, we all have the same genetic material in us. So we're all born with a clitoris. And then when you get a Y chromosome, that clit grows into a penis. So the Skene's glands are technically the prostate of people with vulvas, but it's not like an object like it is with people with penises. It's kind of their glands. So it's spread out, but it's like a bit of erectile tissue around there as well. Obviously I am not a trans woman, so I cannot speak for their experience. However, I do know that, and they probably also wouldn't call it pegging, but being able to be penetrated and have pleasure from that, they might just refer to their butthole as their pussy or their bussy or whatever that they want to call it. And that can feel very affirming to them. And it's asking people how they want their genitals to be played with. But for those who have a neovulva, I don't believe that they would remove the prostate, but I would also think that the HRT that they go through would also just change the reaction of that. So it's because it's kind of a reshaping of your genitals into a different type of genital. It's like there's still a lot of fun things that are there that you can access. So for trans
HRT,
women,
is that hormones?
Yeah, so hormone replacement therapy, or I think, that, or like whether you do that or you have gender affirming surgery and have a neovulva, like either way of that, you can still engage in penetration. And I mean, especially the neovulva, you have to penetrate yourself regularly to maintain your hole.
And I think it really probably just depends on the person, like what they find like pleasurable, what they don't, and then regardless of what I guess they've been reassigned with. I mean, that would be my thought. I mean, again, I can't speak on that from obviously experience, but I mean, the idea being like, if someone like likes their prostate or not prostate or whatever you want to call it, it's just like sex to them.
It's like you change the name. You can just call it their spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm annoyed with the fact that the G spot is called the G spot because it's named after a man. Mm-hmm. And I like the term clitoral complex. I don't like to call it the G spot because I don't think any part of my lady body should be named after a man. But that's my own personal hangups.
There's a scientist or a doctor named Laura Merritt in Germany, and she calls it the pleasure plane for that reason. Mm-hmm.
Pleasure plane,
that's
nice.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Double P.
And this is kind of more of a softer question that I wanted to start off, but I feel like we went right into the pegging tips. But spanking, because we were talking, yes, we on Hey Poopy celebrate everything that comes in and out of the butthole, but let's talk about the actual butt itself. Like, do you have any spanking tips, or people who like to be spanked or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, spanking has become so ubiquitous with doggy style sex in general. And I think it's just because our hands are attached to us. We come with them. So there's not much else. You don't have to come with a bag of stuff prepared. But I think one is that your goal is not to hit someone a certain amount or with a certain intensity or hard. I think a lot of people, usually people ask me like, hey, can I spank you during sex? I'll be like, sure, but I will tell you if you do it wrong. Or you don't check in with me on how you're doing so. But if it's just kind of a couple of taps, you still have to be able to talk about that and make sure that that person is okay with it. But it's not about going as hard as you can. And especially if the person receiving, understand if you're attracted to this because of novelty and it's something new and naughty, or it's something you've seen in porn. If it's something that mentally you like the idea of being punished, or you like the idea of being filthy or wrong, or is it the physicality? Do you like the feeling of hand on your butt or object on your butt or pain in general? I thought I liked spanking, and it turns out I just like attention, and there's plenty of ways to get that don't involve getting hit.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think we're not taking enough time to think of okay, what is it that I like it? Why I like it? So beyond that, physically doing it, cupping your hand is a nice way where you can get a really nice sound, but it gets more of a thuddiness as well. That also isn't going to be as painful, and you can do little taps or larger ones. And then also I like a good speed bagging technique with fists kind of lightly going against the butt that way. You can make it like a massage.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a massage gun.
Yeah. Well, it's if I don't know if someone's into pain.
Yeah, no,
don't
totally.
Try pain.
Yeah. You want to kind of ease into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're probably going to tell you too. It's harder or softer, or just don't do it. So
yeah, I like biting on my butt. I like bites.
Oh, yeah. I also feel for me, spanking needs to start off really soft and warm it up. If you go straight into a hard one, it just gets, for some reason, my ass gets itchy. The nerve endings are like, no, I don't like that. And so I feel like you have to start off slow and then build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's happening is like the blood is rising to the surface of the skin, which will make it more sensitive. And then all kinds of touch feels great. But a lot of times you need that warm up to build that base layer.
Yeah.
Because it's like, also think about the temperature. It's if you come in from outside in the cold, that's going to feel a lot different than if you've been inside by the fire for a bit.
Yeah, so you got to build up. It's like a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to like take the first like mile like going 100 miles an hour. You want to kind of ease into it. Understood.
Be nice to those butts.
Sound advice. And
do you have any tips for women who want to dive into anal? I know you said that you are not as much of a bottom, but maybe you can tell our audience if they are interested, but they don't know how to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, when I receive anal, I'll do it a similar way in that I give, and like I'll start with fingers. I'll also understand like what kind of shapes, lengths, and widths work best with my body. So if they are not equipped with that, maybe I will ask them to strap on, or like sometimes I will just see the penis, be like, I know where that's going.
You're like,
but I'll have them
perfect.
do the same anal massage on me, and when it's like time for penetration, same thing, the breathing techniques. When I breathe out, we'll push in a little bit more. And what I like usually instruct partners to do is like, cause like I'm controlling this. I have to relax like my anal cavity. So once they are inside of me, as far as we really want to go, I'll just sit there and breathe a bit. And I let them know, like, don't move. Don't do anything until I tell you. Like, I need to breathe, relax until I'm in a space where I'm ready for you to engage in movement. And then I might be specific of like, don't do a lot of in and out. Let's start with a bit of rocking movement, like up and down or something of that nature. But really like taking it from the perspective that like you're the one in control. So even if that's in a position, so I actually don't recommend doggy style, even though that's like the classic one for anal. So especially if you're someone with a vulva, lay on your back with your legs up. You can put a pillow underneath. That way you get to see their face and they have that real time feedback. And then it just puts you in, even though you're on your back, like less of a submissive position as well too. So I think that can be a little bit more difficult sometimes for people with penises being penetrated. I think for that, I recommend them like doing cow person. So kind of getting down on their knees and kind of going down onto the dick or the dildo or whatever's happening. And people with vulvas can do that too as well. But I find that for just ways that they're maybe used to engaging in sex, those muscle groups when they're being penetrated anally might not like, those wires might get a little bit crossed, but both of those positions are really great ones for first time entry.
Nice. Awesome
I also
tips.
feel like patience and lube.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
Lots of
I just
lube.
always feel like the only advice I always hear for like anal is like, go slow and lube. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. But there is also more to it than that.
Yes.
Like if then you're just like, oh, so I just put it in. But so there's still like, there's a lot of massage that goes on. There's a lot of breathing and the breathing has coordination to it. But yeah, absolutely. Like stupid amounts of lube, lots of barriers, all of that. And then also like vibration can help because vibration helps us relax, and it's going to definitely help that area relax, because if you have a tight sphincter, none of this will be fun. And I don't want your anal experiences to be ruined because you had a tight sphincter and you're like, I guess anal wasn't for me. Like I said before, sometimes it's an anal day, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you start out and you're like, my butt just isn't receiving it like it did that other time when it was great. Most of my anal experiences have actually been surprise anal. So like, meaning I hadn't prepared for them and it was in the moment and someone's like, oh, do you want to do this? It's like, okay.
Awesome.
I think I had one time where we had like prepared for it of like, this is what's and that was a situation where I'm like, I have seen your penis. I know where it's going to go. I would like to do this with you.
And what makes a good penis for your butthole?
Long and skinny.
Ah.
Yeah. Especially for like, I'm on a mission to try to hit my cervical zone in a nice way. And anally so far has been the way to do that because it's so sensitive. Anally, you can do a little bit more there. And I've had my craziest orgasms I think when there was like an anal and cervical connection. So I've been after that. So if I have a longer one, that's going to get to the zone that I want to hit.
Right. Chasing the dragon.
I see that. I totally get that. And then we had a guest on recently who is into scat play. And so being the Hey Poopy podcast, we got to go into, tell us, have you had any scat play, or do you have any suggestions about tips for scat play? Like, tell us everything you know.
So I actually haven't engaged in scat play, I mean, with a client or personally. And I think, so I think it's like similarly with like pegging, where I'm like, that's a for lovers thing. Is like, well, pegging, that feels really intimate for me. And that's why I want to reserve it for that. But also I was just like, if I'm going to be going and digging in someone's butt and I'm going to potentially have poop like near me, like I really want to like that person a lot. And like money is not an important thing in that scenario. So I think for for scat play, I'm like, I'm sure I'm going to do that at some point in the future, but it's going to have to be somebody I'm like comfortable with. And I'm like, it's more likely to be a lover than it is a client as well. But I do a lot of like peeing play, try to do farting play. It's very difficult to harness a fart. So
yeah, you gotta have one on deck. It's like, I'm holding this one in for so long. Finally.
I don't know if Shayla told you, but I asked her also about farting, and she was like, I can't fart on command. And I was like, there's a book called Fartology, and I have eaten a couple of things from that book, and I can almost fart on command. So, yeah.
Are you looking for some clients?
Yeah, you should just do that. If you're doing it on command.
Get a farting OnlyFans. There's a big market for it.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh my
I can only imagine.
I've always said if I could turn my farts into gold, I'd be a billionaire. But yeah.
Yeah.
I cauliflower, sunchokes, dried apricots, those and baked and like some kind of beans. If I eat those four.
Yeah, it's like that's the main thing is like know your body for any kind of toilet play.
Right.
It's like it's knowing your body for any kind of toilet play, or even when I prepare for like squirting performances, or I'm going to prepare to like pee on people. Well, actually, it's interesting. Like for squirting performances, poop is the only thing that can interfere with my body not letting me squirt, because sometimes my body's going to be like, you're going to get more than you bargained for here. So we're not going to let you do it.
You're like, whoa, I did not order that. I believe this is someone else's. I mean, I wonder, back to the scat thing though, like again, I'm just assuming this. I have no idea. I have no actual factual information on this, but I imagine more men seem to be into the whole scat. I mean, again, I'm just completely, and I'm saying like, just women just, I don't know. It seems like a community of like, seems like it's mainly a male thing. But again, like I would love to know if there's like a whole woman community or female community of like people just that are really into this.
I mean, I'm sure there is. I think it's more a product of like patriarchy and toxic masculinity and the commodification of women that has led to so many of these things being like what men are into, or they're being like male clients or things like that, because men aren't really allowed to express themselves sexually, or they are, but in a very defined set of manners. And the patriarchy expects them to also be a certain way. So anytime they're allowed to act outside of that can feel like relieving, and also the feeling of being like dirty and wrong can be great. And then if you add in the commodification of women, like I know with Shayla, the way she describes it is like they want to eat the worst part of me, like, and it's like that's what it is for them. But I think it's more a result of society than like men like this more, because there's a lot of women that are into humiliation, and I'm like, I don't want to be humiliated by men. I've felt that enough in my life. I want to destroy them, preferably. But we all find our power in different ways.
Yeah, man, you gotta do you, right?
Yeah, because we interviewed one scat play guy, and he's a homosexual, and he doesn't pay for it. He has other scat play partners and parties and all the rest of it. But then we've interviewed doms who like Shayla, poop on guys. And so I think that's what Dave is saying. We're like, where are the women out there that like to play with poop? What's going on here? So, but maybe it's
there
just
must
that.
be. There must be. When you think of that, when you hear those terms, those words, you just automatically go to, oh, it's a guy thing, mainly men. So,
Well, I remember even when we interviewed Ashley Page the first time, Dave, you were like, let me guess, they're all old white men. And she was like, no, they're all kinds of men, young, white, black, everything.
yeah, I still don't buy that. I mean, I saw it. Not that I don't believe her. I'm just like, I want to see the data on that. Some banker named Roger.
There's also a socioeconomic barrier to that. So you can't say, oh, it's only like middle class old white men, because it's like, well, our experiences cost a certain amount of money.
No.
And scat play costs a lot.
I think it's a bunch of bankers, Wall Street execs, people in a lot of power that like to give up that power for like an hour or two.
But also they have a lot of disposable.
Exactly, a lot of disposable cash. Like I'm not talking about the street sweeper guy. And no offense to street sweepers, but they're not going to be dropping like however much money to get shit on.
Yeah, they also have like probably the most guilt that they need to get rid of.
Yes, completely. Yeah, totally. Again, some banker named Roger is like, oh, I closed a farm on some farmer. I got to get shit on.
Yeah, I had some guy in my DMs on Instagram, and he was not even Hey Poopy DMs, but my photography DMs. And he was begging me. He was like, I don't have the money and I need somebody to shit on me. And I was like, dude, I'm not the person to ask. I'm so not. And I can't force any of my dom friends to shit on you for free. Like, I'm not their pimp. Like, stop it. So I had to finally block him after he kept being like begging. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like liquid or solid gold. Like, you only got so many of those in you a day.
Yeah.
You're not going to be wasted for free on a stranger.
Totally. If that's your thing, especially, it's like, hey, it's going to cost you.
But also with all our doms who do that, why are they going to give it out for free? If they give it out for free for one guy, they're going to do it for everybody else. And how are they going to pay their bills?
Yeah, you have to determine there are certain things like I will only do this for money because that is what it's worth to me. And some people love it, and some people it's a way to make ends meet. And I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Like, I feel like I'm going to do scat play just to be like, I can do that. I can manipulate my body and do that. And I feel like it's more of getting healthy and getting yourself regular so you can predict when the poop is going to be instead of like trying to hold on to it, because that also might not be very healthy.
Yeah. Totally.
That was the thing with the guy we interviewed who does scat play. He says that before one of his parties, he could hold it up from 3 to 5 days.
That's not good.
I know. That was the most shocking thing to the interview. For
Yeah,
me.
I mean, he wants that big reveal though. Because I think too, he was saying too, it's like the almost like everything leading up to it, the actual moment. It's like that's the pleasurable thing. It's like everything leading up to it. I mean, almost like when you take the shit, it's like kind of like, all right, we're done. It's like that's not really the payoff. It's like everything involved with it, like, leading up to it and stuff. So I think that's really a lot of it too. Your imagination
you run
does.
the risk of it being like really hard and then not able to come out or being painful when it is, if you hold on to it for a long period of time, though.
I mean, whatever he's doing is working because, I mean, he's like into it.
He knows his body.
That's his thing. Like he knows his body. He put his 10,000 hours in.
I mean,
probably
I
more.
can't hold my poop for even 5 minutes, and my check-in when I held it in for 2 hours and shit in that tire place, like that was impressive for me. Like, so 3 to 5 days of holding it in. I'm like, woo.
I felt it in for a week, but I was like 16. I felt it in for a week once, and that was like I was like 16. I talked about the show before. I had broke my leg, but it's just like, it's like when it finally does come out, it is the most pain. It's just like, first of all, everything compresses down. Like it's like a diamond. Like it's just like, you're just like, boop. It's not, it feels gigantic, but it's really like a little pellet. By the time it passes. So, I mean, that's for me anyway. I mean, that's speaking for myself, but it's not fun. It is not fun.
I had a fun reveal too. I don't know if you know Nicolette from the Sluts and Scholars podcast, but we had gone out for drinks, and I think I was talking to her about this podcast, and I was telling her about, I guess, one of my like funniest and like shamey poop stories was during the pandemic. I was on virtual therapy with my therapist, and I got the urge, really got to poop. And I thought, I'm like, I can make it through therapy. And then it got to a point where I was like, no, I can't. It's like, excuse me, hold on. Put it on mute, left the room, went to go to the bathroom. I have 3 roommates, and somebody was in there that morning. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Go back, talking through therapy. I'm like, no, I cannot make it.
Train's coming.
It's the only thing I'm thinking about now. go to the bathroom. Someone is still in there. So I'm like, what can I do? There are not public bathrooms in my building. There's nowhere I can really go because it's like the middle of the pandemic and everything shut down. So I find like a Trader Joe's bag. And while my therapist is muted, but on the screen on my like bed over somewhere else in the room, and I shit in this bag in front of my 2 foster kittens. And it's like, I'm so sorry. And I finish that, and then I go back and I finish therapy.
That's kind
She
of
has no
genius.
idea.
That is until now. No. She's like, I was listening to this podcast.
And Nicolette, who's a therapist, I'm going to be thinking about that anytime someone ever excuses themselves during virtual therapy. Are they shitting in a bag right now?
Yeah. There's a
Okay.
lot of mutes.
You said Trader Joe's bag, though. Was it paper?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta recycle. It breaks down.
It was double bagged too.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The people out on the podcast who've shit in bags, they've always been plastic. You're the first paper. So
I needed a wide, I mean, it was a solid poo, but I just wanted a wide catch
Yeah.
area.
I mean, hey, you got to use what you got to use. At that point, you're just like, look, I don't, a shoebox, anything is going to work right now.
yep,
Yours happen to be a Trader Joe's bag, double bagged.
Ziploc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, whatever, it's some kind of container,
Cat's litter.
some kind of vessel it needs to go into. You can't get picky at that point.
No.
That's amazing,
Now
by
we
the
know
way.
the answer. Pants versus floor. You floored it. in the
Yeah,
bag.
you did.
Yeah, except I feel like for that answer, I'd be like floor. And then, you didn't specify where I was. So I was like, and then I'll run away.
Yes.
Yeah, so the question is very
Someone else?
circumstantial.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
kind of if you're in a kind of train versus like you're at home on a
I
therapy
had a very
session.
like clean pooping my pants story though. When I was
Ooh.
in college, I was feeling like kind of like sick or lightheaded. So I faint a lot. I have a like sensitive vasovagal response. And I think I was like vomiting. I think things were like both ends. Like it was not a good sick day. And I went downstairs to do laundry and I was wearing those like running shorts that have like the built-in like liners and no underwear. Thank God. And I guess I fainted and I woke up and I was like, I had fainted, but I kind of slid down the like laundry machines to the ground. And I woke up like kind of sitting down with my back against it and I shit my pants, but it all got contained in that liner.
Yeah, that liner is a lifesaver. I run a lot, so having those as like a backup is great. Because it's all tight to your legs as well, so it's like it's not really gonna. I mean, it's a meshy kind of thing, so it could leak out, but it's a great strainer.
It was a good cleanup, but then I'm like, I think I like crawled to a bathroom. I threw out my poopy pants, but now I'm like in a bathroom like Winnie the Pooh, no pants, just a shirt. I was like, I don't know what to do right now. I am a college freshman.
You just like
You're
stretch it
in
down.
the laundry room. When you
Just find some.
I would like open up the bathroom door, I'd be like, help, and then I go back.
You like grab some dirty clothes in that one machine right there and give it to me, please. That's what I'm wearing. Or you could just take the shirt and just like, I guess, keep shimmying it down your legs as a long dress.
Yeah. I mean, like that.
Oh my
I was
God.
not at the stage in my life where I was smart enough to shit in a bag, so I don't think
Yeah.
I was thinking about potential other solutions.
Right. You just like got to get these off me, and then we'll figure that out from there.
I mean, the shitting in the bag, I have only done it recently thanks to this podcast. I didn't even know that was an option until we've interviewed so many people who've been like, yeah, that's what I ended up doing. And I'm like, oh, wow.
What did you do before?
I pooped in my pants or outside on the ground. I never knew there was a third option.
Well, the option being too, if there's a bag available, because then if it's not, you're like, well,
Yes.
it's the floor or pants.
Because like pooping in your pants, I don't know. My vagina's so sensitive. Getting fecal matter near it, I'm just like, that's not. No.
Nobody wants to poop in their pants. It's the worst thing. It's like level worst thing that you can do to your own self. There's nothing worse. I mean, it's the body failing you, and it's failing you so quickly you don't have the choice. So Yeah.
There's some people that would probably disagree with you on that one. They're like, oh, yeah, I love shit in my pants.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know the percentage wise, but there's some people out there probably like, that sounds like a dream day.
And their baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
That's so funny.
We follow a diaper guy on Instagram. We meaning Hey Poopy Podcast. Dave does not like watching this guy's Instagram. I love it and would love to interview him. And he wears like multiple diapers on top of each other and photographs it. I'm so intrigued. I need to know more.
I don't.
It's like puppy play where like I want to watch someone who's doing puppy play engage with an actual puppy. I'm like want to watch him engage with an actual baby.
Yeah.
They'll be like, who are you? You're me, but big. What?
It's like, why wear that diaper? You can control your shits.
I think they'll enjoy it. They're like, he gets it.
Yeah, he gets it.
Even I kind of feel like babies can control it too, because I don't know about you, Lola, but I've brought it up, and we've had parents on the podcast. When a baby poops their diaper, it doesn't just fall out. They make like a face where they're kind of and they turn red. So it's like, even though they think they're not controlling it because they just don't know better because they're a baby, but like there's some push involved.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're supposed to like pedal their legs to help them fart and stuff too. Like they don't have complete control over their body, but I mean, that's like, I feel like that's more of like brain function of like, do they have conscious control over anything that they're doing until a certain
It's
point?
just stuff's just happening until they can kind of figure it out.
They're also, it's just not falling out.
I've never thought about that for 1 second.
I just like when I'm hanging out with babies in diapers, I'm like, oh, I know what's happening right now. You're giving me that face.
Yeah, when my niece was born, and I think my brother was asking if I want to like change the baby's diaper, and I was kind of like, I don't have that responsibility in my life. That sounds gross. But then I was like, wait a sec. I was like trying to question myself. I'm like, I go into grown men's butt all the time and deal with poop. Why do I not want to do it with this baby? And then I was like, oh, I need gloves. I think that's all I need. I think if I had gloves, I would be fine. But I'm like, is that a weird request? Being like, I need these black nitrile gloves in order to change your baby's diaper.
Yeah, I've had my sister-in-law be like, do you want to change the baby's diaper? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I have zero desire to do that. Don't care. Like, it's not my kid.
The parents are probably obviously doing it to you to be like, you need to come down to my level. This is a bonding experience. You have to touch baby fecal matter to understand what it's really like. And you're like, nah, it's okay.
You have to touch adult fecal matter to understand what my life is like.
Exactly. I just think they just don't want to do it. They're like, oh, can you please help me? I don't want to do this. You're like, no, your choice, man.
You procreated.
Oh my God. So should we get in some generic questions? Not generic questions, our general questions? Or do you want to go into a next segment?
I mean, we pretty much did a pants versus floor, but we can just ask some of the softball ones like, Lola, what kind of toilet paper do you use? And do you put it on the roll over or under?
I always like, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I do the one that feels right, but that's the over one. Yeah. That as long as it's not putting a new roll like perpendicular to the old roll, those people deserve to die in hell.
You're preaching to the choir. I literally, like, one of top 5 pet peeves, want to kill them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not like, I think I'm not that huge of a loyalist to certain brands of toilet paper. Me and the roommates we'll just trade off who's getting what, but I'm not going to go for one ply because I'm not a monster.
Right.
But is there any texture that you do prefer over others, or you're just like happy there's toilet paper there?
The softer ones, the plushier ones, but I feel like you don't notice it until it's a not good one. I don't notice the ones that I'm like, oh, that feels nice. It's you notice it and you're like, why is that scratchy?
Yeah. Okay, so a little
We're
soft.
installing a bidet though, so maybe I'll be a no toilet paper gal.
Yeah, bidet is the
Bidets
way.
are the best. They're the greats. They're the greatest.
Wash, don't wipe. But sometimes you need a little wipe to dry it off.
Yeah.
Do you have any first memories as a kid of poops and farts?
Not really. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I know my brother used to like pee in the house and dance in it and stuff. So I was just a baby angel saint for not doing that. But I don't have as much like earlier memories with like pooping and farting. I feel like I really got into that in my adult years because it's very funny.
The show is built on.
My boyfriend made me laugh so hard on the train the other day that I farted, and we found that quite fun. And that kind of broke our seal because like I'm like open and gross, and I'm like, I can fart in front of you, right? But he's like really weird about bodily function stuff, I think, because he takes like monstrous poops and he's embarrassed of that. So it's like been a while, and he was like, no, you can like fart in front of me. I will just never ever fart in front of you ever. And because he's like, because it's so bad, just really talking it up. And then we were in the car and he was just like, know me for who I was, not who I am. And he just farted.
You're like, oh my God, you were right. It's awful. No, you're like,
it's not that bad.
You're like, get me out of this car.
Yeah. He'll always just be like, don't worry about it, and go to the bathroom. I'm like, it's fine, dude.
That's so funny. It's amazing.
Is there anything else you want to add, Lola, before we go into our last two segments?
I mean, I've been learning so much through my foster cats, but I've been like learning about poop through them a lot, because that's usually like their litter box behavior tells you when something's like wrong. So if like there's like blood in their poop, or they're not pooping in the right spot, or it's just interesting that the one cat I have now, like he is a big boy, he's a huge dude, but his poops are like petite. Like I've had other cats that are small and they make like monster poops. But yesterday when I was cleaning it up, I saw this like red, and I was like, oh no, is there blood in your poop? Are we going to have to like force pills down your throat? And then I'm like, wait, why is it sparkling? And then I'm like, oh, you ate another toy you weren't supposed to eat. Yeah. There's like tinsel in it. Cause I was just like, oh no, I'm like, what? Why is it glitter? Are you a vampire? Like,
you're like, yeah, why is it sparkling? Why is it flashing?
Yeah.
Oh,
but it's
goodness.
like, yeah, cleaning up all the animal stuff. Yeah, I mean, I have to pay attention to their poop all the time.
Oh, totally.
That's
For
being
cats.
a good foster mom.
Yeah. And you have 2 cats, you said? You're fostering?
I had 2. One of them just got adopted, so now I'm back down to 1 again.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
Those are different from the 2 cats that saw me shit in a bag.
Okay.
Those were the first foster kitties I had, and they were in a little pen because they were feral, so they had to watch me from jail, basically.
They're like, wow, she's doing the thing that got us in here. Now, just shitting in a bag.
She does it too.
Yeah, right? Oh, that's so funny. Well, we can get into this next segment real quick. Oh,
So the same cat I have now, he's obsessed with water. And apparently he was in the bathroom when my boyfriend was peeing, and he tried to catch his stream.
oh my God. You're like, no.
Like, that's my boy. That's my
That is
boy.
so funny.
One of my fetishes is holding people's penises while they pee, and I have been wanting to do this with my boyfriend for as long as I've known him, and he does not like it, and he does not like it when I stare at him when he pees, which if given the opportunity, I would also do.
Right. Like that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd like that either. I'm trying to think like someone watching me pee. Just like silently. Just intently.
Just like
no facial
me by
expression.
the shower, just like
Zero facial expression. You're just like, oh, that's so funny.
I talked about it on this show. My bathroom, the toilet is literally inches from the tub, and we have a see-through shower curtain. So in the morning, my boyfriend will be showering, and I'm sitting on the toilet, and his dick is literally at eye level, and I'm always like, poke, poke, poke. He
Nice.
does not like it. So I'm going to keep doing it.
All right, so we're going to get into this next segment, just called Shitty Choices. And these are 2 really bad choices that you get to choose from. So one of them is you shit yourself in a hot tub full of social media, quote unquote, influencers, or you can live the rest of your life with only 2 teeth.
2 teeth?
2 teeth.
like in your mouth teeth.
Yep. That's the only kind I know about.
I'll shit on the influencers. all press is good press, baby.
I mean, I guess in that case, I don't know. That's a
Am I
hard one.
shitting on Logan Paul?
I don't know any social influencers, but
Also,
it's a hot tub full of them.
I'll blame it on one of the other people in there.
Oh no! This is like you're like at one end of the hot tub. You just shit. There's like brown everywhere, and they're like what horrified. Which I mean, obviously anybody would be because someone shit in a hot tub. But this hot tub happens to be filled with a bunch of like douchebags.
People who are literally taking selfies as you're shitting.
Yeah, actually that'd be kind of funny.
And then it's documented because you just see the chain. Like,
Yeah. All of a sudden you see this like complete like brown cloud like in the water. You're like, what is that? Oh my God.
yeah, that sounds kind of funny because I'd get to ruin their day a little bit. Or give them a great story so they're welcome.
I mean, you're going to be on like every, like, it's going to be a meme. It's probably going to wind up on a bunch of whatever. These are the choices.
Yeah.
So that's what you got.
But like shit happens and like, and the shit, honestly, I'm like, oh no, all press is good press. This sounds great. Either they're ashamed and they never talk of it again and we take it all to the grave, or they tell millions of followers and their millions of followers like, I gotta see who the shit girl is.
It's a dice roll, right? It's a dice roll.
Mm-hmm. And then I sell merch and then I can
I shit in a hot tub. Did you get that I shit in the hot tub t-shirt? That's amazing.
Right. Everybody cool shits in a hot tub. Well, because then I'm gonna get people that relate to me because they're like, I've done that too, and like, thanks for being real.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
A hot tub.
I don't know why not.
Small contained.
I mean, a hot tub is just like, it just sounds like a funny place to take a shit in, like a hot tub.
Yeah, I was like, does that make it worse or better?
I feel like it's because people are forced to be in that contained area.
Yeah, it's just like you're just kind of like in this little spot that you're just like, oh my God, there's nowhere to run. Or like, and like, you know, you have to kind of like hop out. You have to sort of like be on your best alert. Like when it goes down, because you're probably just like hanging out, talking, drinking, and next thing you know, you're like, what is it? What is this brown liquid? What the fuck?
It's happening.
And then you're already now you're in it.
Also, like pooping in a hot tub is one day. 2 teeth is the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean it's a shitty choice. I mean, 2 teeth would be like horrible.
I've also
Just
been
2
through, I
teeth.
feel like, the most vulnerable and embarrassing experiences. And if you just own it, they're like not that bad and you can make fun of it. So I'm kind of like, I can make it. And also I'm like, in comparison to other things that could be embarrassing, that actually doesn't sound that embarrassing. And also if I think of like social media influencers, I'm like, it sounds like I probably already hate them. So I think it would be funny.
Oh, I mean, look, I'm going to choose that one only because the thought of only having 2 teeth would be just ridiculous. But
which 2 would you choose, though?
I mean, whatever happens in your head, I guess. I don't know. Like, what's to say you get 1 molar and 1 front tooth? And you got to figure out a way to make that shit work. I mean, could you imagine going through that? Would be, I think that would be pretty bad. You couldn't really smile anymore.
They have to be on top, a top and a bottom tooth. Because even if you have 1 front and 1 molar, they can't work unless it's like
that's why it's a shitty choice. Yeah. That's the whole point of this game. It's a horrible. No, there's no choice. You just get whatever you get. I'm just gonna say, that one like sort of like molar, maybe this tooth right here, the kind of dead center, just like 1 right in the center and then 1 way in the back. Just like kind of mix it up in this really gross way.
Nah, pooping in the hot tub sounds like a good time. I'll take that.
I don't think either of them sound like a good time, but I'm going to choose the hot tub one. Let's just put it that way. I'm not a person that thinks all press is good press. But yeah,
I do.
I don't.
I'm on
I think that
especially with our podcast.
I don't think I want to be caught dead shitting in a pool or a hot tub, but in this case, hot tub. But I mean, yeah, I feel like I can recover from that. I feel like I can recover from that one a little bit better than just having 2 fucking teeth.
Plus, it's warm. You basically get a bidet if you put your ass on the jet afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know. They're both disgusting. They're both disgusting. Let's put it that way. But I'm gonna have to go with hot tub on this one. Just because I don't want to.
I feel like I've really been selling the hot tub.
Oh no, I don't want to blend my food for the rest of my life, depending on which 2 teeth I get. So I'm just gonna go with hot tub. Yeah, I could probably survive that a little bit better.
If you did do hot tub Dave, we are gonna do the Lola Jean and make t-shirts and say Dave from the Hey Poopy podcast. Here's a viral video of him shitting in a hot tub full of influencers. Like TMZ.
See, my thing is like, You're
Millions
really
of views. Millions.
you're really going all in the fact that you think people are necessarily going to be like, oh my god, I'm gonna buy everything she's got now. See, my thing is like, oh wow, this guy fucking shit in a hot tub. That's it.
Weird
Holy
things
shit!
happen.
Sharing
I
it.
feel like it's like
Sharing
Two
it.
Girls, One Cup. I've never seen it, but I know the story and the allure is there. And people still to this day, I mean, that happened over a decade ago, still talk about it.
Yeah, but okay, where's their mansion? What did they retire? They might. They for all we know, they could be like living it up, just totally living on a beach somewhere, just like no care in the world. I'm just gonna throw this out. I don't think that's happening, but you never know. Hey, you never know. But I'm going with hot tub just because I having two teeth is terrifying to me. So we're all.
Lola, you said something that I always try to say on this podcast, and it was a good quote I heard on another podcast. Shame thrives when you're alone. So you might as well, when you have shame, admit it to the world and the shame goes away. So don't.
Yeah, it's power. If you let people like shame you of something, you're just giving them power. And like one of my favorite responses is just like, I literally don't care. I actually don't care. And if I don't care, whatever you're shaming me about, it's more to do with you than me.
Exactly.
Okay. That sounds good.
I'd be like, oh, you think what I did shitting in a hot tub is like shameful? Like my body failed me in a hot tub. It happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. I'm just like I said. I think I could survive that one a little bit better than the going through life without two teeth. I think, regardless, I would still be like, I can't believe I just shit in this hot tub. But
Bobby
it happened.
Lee, the comedian, only has his front teeth. He has no molars. And I was hearing him on a podcast say that when he eats steak, he has to like chew it up with his front teeth.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. Oh my god. Woof. All right. Well, let's move on from that, and we'll get into this little news ditty. So, my friend Dan sent me this. This is so fucking funny. Consequence. I think it used to be called Consequence of Sound, but now I think it's just called Consequence. It's like a music blog. I think it used to be a magazine, but now it's just like a website. Anyhow, this guy he kickstarted this thing called the fart pedal. It's a guitar. So, not that anybody would even know this on the show. I've been playing guitar since I was like 13. I love guitar. I love distortion pedals, all that stuff. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. So this is like near and dear to me. I think this is so fucking funny. This guy did a Kickstarter, $30,000. He made 250 units so far of the fart pedal. It's got a little wet, dry function. And if, again, this is like very dorky shit. Like if you know anything about distortion pedals, there's these little switches you can call wet and dry. It's just the way the sound comes out. So that's even the best pun of this fucking pedal in the world. And it's a blue little box. It says fart pedal like in metal. It's got like little like green, like bubbly, like gaseous, like little graphics on it. It's hilarious. So again, I thought this was the fucking funniest thing in the world. He worked with an award-winning sound design company in Chicago to develop bespoke custom fart noises. For which I hold exclusive license. That's like the funniest part of this whole fucking thing to me. So they've been
how he got these bespoke sounds. Were they human? Were they?
Who knows? He worked with
auto-tuned.
He worked with an award-winning sound design company. So I imagine it's a mix of natural with synthetic sounds. Who knows?
Oh, just to smell that mic cover after.
Right. So basically,
that's a pop filter for you.
Oh my god, this is so fucking funny. So anyway, he was playing like different like popular songs and then like hitting the pedal. So he's playing this one right here. He's playing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana. So I think everybody pretty much knows that song. So okay, here we go. I'm just gonna play this little clip and you can get a taste for the fart pedal. He just hit the pedal and like there's nothing about the original song was left. It was just fart sounds, which is so fucking hilarious to me. But yeah, so this guy, let me catch this. I want to give him his credit where credit is due. Steve Gadlin. Steve Gadlin, you are an amazing genius, which I think this is the funniest like gag gift / thing. And I can't wait till someone comes out with a song that's just like a fart, like some like heavy metal shit, and it's like farts the whole thing. I think that's hilarious to me. So again,
I want our national anthem and farts for you and me, Dave, to do something for 4th of July with sparklers and butts.
Sure. That'd be funny. I mean, might get this pedal. It's just like so great. Anyway, yes. But with that ridiculous and funny story, Lola Jean, thank you so much for being on our show. You're fantastic. Thanks for all the awesome, wonderful words. And if you have anything you want to plug for our audience, please do. Let us know where we can find you.
Well, if you would like to get better at spelunking in butts, no matter the genitalia of yourself or the person you are spelunking into, you can find my pegging series at lolajean.com. That is also my handle on both Instagram and Twitter with the DOT spelled out, along with many, many, many other classes, some that are related to butts, some that are not.
Awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Maybe Lola, you can do a prostate milking class for me and Dave to join.
Yeah. I think honestly, like, I feel like I might outsource that and give that to someone else just because, I mean, it's the same thing with like my classes on squirting where like, it's not focused on like, you're going to squirt in this class. It's like, if that's your journey, then here's a way that you can get to it. And I feel like with prostate milking, I'm like, if that's your journey, then like, but here's how you can stimulate the prostate and then you figure it out based on your body. But I feel like maybe that could be a good one for 7 days of domination to get a dom specific to that. Because I imagine that there is a bit of bondage and maybe a little bit of torture involved in this one too.
Ooh. Well, keep me and Dave posted.
Yeah, let us know.
Dying to know.
We'll cover it. Thanks for laughing and learning everything but with us.
And happy pooping, everybody, and enjoy your butthole.
For more info, go to heypoopypodcast.com or email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com. You can send in show ideas, guest requests. Check us out on Twitter at heypoopy, Instagram at heypoopypodcast, TikTok, heypoopypodcast, and our awesome new Facebook fan page. Go check it out at heypoopypodcast. We're also on Discord at heypoopydumps, or you can contact us at our new awesome hotline, 203-998-5579.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect for Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen. Edited by Dave. Executive producers Stormy Leather. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy!